Hello and welcome to another episode of A Closer Look. Thank you for joining us. In this segment, we zoom into discussions around the recent Enga massacre. As one of the provinces known for tribal fighting, Enga province has experienced the worst of it on the 18th of February this year. More than 50 men were reported to have been slaughtered by the enemy tribe in a single battle in the Wapenamanda district of the province. The Wapenamanda massacre has set the record for the highest casualty in a tribal fight in the country.
The massacre that took place in the Wapenamanda district of Enga province is by far the largest killing in all of Highlands region and Papua New Guinea as a whole on a single day. The ongoing tribal fighting between the Ambulin clan and Sikin tribe has transited into guerrilla warfare with the use of high-powered weapons that have been smuggled into the province. The aftermath of the tribal fighting was devastating. These are the graphic images of the dead bodies recovered by police officers and locals in the battlefield. The Wapenamanda massacre has taken the nation and the international communities by surprise. It has prompted government leaders and concerned citizens to raise concerns. Although it was unexpected news, the provincial member for Enga province, Sir Peter Ipatas, has revealed on the floor of Parliament that he had received intel that there was going to be a big fight. He had brought it to the attention of the provincial police commander. With disappointment, he expressed that police did not intervene to avoid the unprecedented mass killings.
Me kiss him intel finish. Me advise him provincial police commander on the ground that by got one big fight back him up. It's an ongoing fight. So you got enough troops. Thank you long government blame me. You got 114 soldiers currently serving in Enga. You got close to 200 over policemen is long Enga. Me been giving this intel, long provincial police commander. Now me talk this and by big fight, so ready long this Unfortunately, Mr. Acting Speaker, unfortunately, only no wake up.
Provincial member for East Sepik Province, Alan Bird, also expressed sympathy for the unfortunate killing that had happened in Wapenamanda. He urged the government of the day to enforce the full force of the law to deal with this act of domestic terrorism in the country.
When are we going to take the guns off these terrorists operating in the Upper Highlands? When? When are we going to develop the capability? If we need to send 1,000 troops up there to deal with them and deal with them hard, then why not? Is that not the price we should be willing to pay to protect innocent lives of women and children? We are our government, for goodness sake. Let's act like one. Why are we protecting? Why are we not interested in prosecuting these terrorists with extreme prejudice?
With everything happening in the country, Prime Minister James Marape has a lot on his plate. He expressed that he is extremely saddened by the news of the massacre. In a media conference, Prime Minister Marape announced that PNG would seek help from Australia to support the Royal PNG Constabulary at the administrative level to lead and guide, whilst the local police will be deployed to the front lines with the support of PNG Defence Force.
Australia is always on standby to assist. In fact, I did receive a call earlier this morning that any help we need, they're willing to step in and assist. And so those options are being looked upon, but I like to believe that the inner resolve of our own people, especially the Enga people, are good people, and I'm making this appeal to them. You have tribal conflicts, resolve that. Lay down your arms. Police, by the way, we're giving them special power now. They'll be protected. The domestic terrorism act that we're looking at is a bill that is drafted and constructed to protect our police and train these police to be in the face of these dangers and having a handle on them.
The Commissioner of Police, David Manning, released a report stating that there was no renewed fighting in Wapenamanda. However, the security personnel are not dropping their guard. He mentioned that they have reviewed the operational plans for enhancing security engagement in Enga, and it is called a peace enforcement operation. The United Nations has condemned the massacre in Enga province. The UN resident coordinator in PNG, Richard Howard, mentioned that the increasing use of modern weapons exacerbate the tribal fights and their impact on human lives. He stated that the UN is willing to assist PNG to implement concrete steps to limit the growing ownership and use of small weapons in PNG, especially in the Highlands region.
The influx of factory-made weapons into the Highlands is completely exacerbated or intensified the danger and the violence that we see. So the issue of small arms is something that the UN must support the government to understand the flow of weapons, how these weapons are financed, what is the distribution, where do they come from, and what steps can we take to reduce the presence and the impact of small arms across the country. So I would say for the UN, this is a top priority for us to support the government in the days ahead, in the months ahead.
Adding on, women rights advocates in Papua New Guinea also call for peace. They are asking the members of parliament to act on the violence in the country. Dorothy Tekwe, the founder of PNG Women in Politics, had expressed sadness for the women who had lost their children in the brutal killing.
Now it's time.
She urged for accountability from the members of parliament.
This is a national crisis. In a peacetime, we have 50 plus people killed, one day slaughtered like animals. And we need to take control. If we need to take PNG back, we start with returning peace so that development can take place. We are asking all members of parliament, because this is not just the government, the current government. Over 40 years, we have had prime ministers. We have had many police commissioners. We have had many MPs. We have had many opposition leaders. Let us not blame tribal fights. Let's not say it's normal for them. It is not normal if you have had almost 50 years of independence. Something is not working.
The 18th February massacre in Wapenamanda district has prompted the leaders of the aggrieved parties to end this ongoing fight once and for all. The leaders noted that the government will not end this tribal conflict unless the people themselves surrender to the government. They urged the government to support their initiative to restore peace in Wapenamanda. In a media conference, the leaders expressed their ideas for a solution to the ongoing tribal conflict in the district.
All the leaders of both factions as to sign an MOU and surrender all our high-powered rifles and guns. Wapenamanda District Development Authority and the Enga provincial government as to passage all these illegal firearms at a price that would compel them to willingly surrender. Both factions know the number of guns in both ends. All the deserted land belonging to the affected tribes must be returned to the rightful customary owners without paying any compensation to either party or at all. The provincial government and the Wapenamanda DDA must provide financial assistance to restore the villages, including building schools and aid posters and health centers to the affected tribes.
We now take a quick break, and when we return, we will highlight plans that will take kidney dialysis to the next level in PNG. Welcome back to a closer look. The commissioning of Kidney Dialysis Center in Port Moresby General Hospital is a transition phase where chronic kidney disease patients will move from the dialysis to transplant after meeting the requirements of the process. This was alluded by the chairman of the Kidney Transplant Project Committee, Dr. Okti Poki.
According to National Health Service, dialysis is a procedure to remove waste products and excess fluid from the blood when the kidneys stop functioning well. Sir Isi Kevau, a long-term serving physician and the director for Sir Buri Kidu Art Institute, highlights that the underlying cause of the kidney disease in the past was infection. He said kidney diseases causing the kidney failure was present in the good old days, where kids and young adults would develop inflammation under their skin and the body would respond to that. That reaction would go into the kidneys, causing it to inflame, which results in kidney failure. According to Dr. Poki, people living with chronic kidney diseases have 3 sessions a week for dialysis. Pointing out the differences between kidney dialysis and kidney transplant, Dr. Poki said patients undergoing the dialysis cannot go back to their normal lives as they become dependent on the dialysis machine, while patients undergoing the kidney transplant can return to their normal lives after the operations. Dr. Poki said his team aims to get the transplant underway so their patients can go back home and live normal lives.
It's going to be the first transplant we want to do for our patients for this country and for the Pacific, and we want to be the regional hub for transplant service. I'm sure other centers around the Pacific are doing dialysis maybe, we don't know, but I think our ultimate aim is to go to transplant, so our patients are sent back. When you get a transplant, you get a new functioning kidney and you go back to normal life.
Dr. Poki revealed that the target month for the first kidney transplant in the country will be in May of this year. He said with the support of its valid partners like the PNG Kidney Foundation and Transplant Links community from the United Kingdom, POMGen is prepared to conduct its first kidney transplant.
We have undertaken this project with the support of our partners, including PNG Kidney Foundation. With all the training, we are ready. I can say that we have partners that are supporting us. The Transplant Links community from UK, that's a 10-man team, and we have had a visit by the lead team, or the professor that's going to lead the team. He was here last year, and he assessed our facility and our hospital, our operating theater, and he looked at our programs, and he was very confident that we are ready for a transplant program, and he gave us the thumbs up.
Sharing his experience as a former urologist, the Secretary for Public Health, Dr. Osborne Liko, said it was always disheartening having to send back patients who were at the end stage of kidney failure back home in the past.
Only very few, less than 1%, those who had money, I was able to get them all the basics necessities there, the fitness to get them to Singapore, to Philippines, to Manila, even to China for transplant. But just imagine the rest of our people. It was end stage, and I sent them home with tears. That was 20 years ago. It's a dream to come to this far now. And to me, it's a joy of satisfaction.
Dr. Liko stressed that the aim is to make PNG's National Referral Teaching Hospital the last bus stop of the people who cannot afford to go overseas for kidney transplant. However, reiterating on Dr. Poki's statement, the Secretary for Health said kidney dialysis is only a transition that will need a lot of funds to maintain.
Dialysis is only a transition. It needs lots of money. And at the moment, with our budget, it is going to be a challenge for each hospitals. Mendina has got the dialysis. We will have Western Britain, Kimber soon. Thank you, Kidney Foundation, to supporting that. And you've heard from our speech from opening remarks of our CEO. We want to make our National Referral Teaching Hospital level 6 PMG being the last bus stop for the rest of our people who cannot afford to go overseas. But what does it mean? It means lots of additional money from the goods and services and PIP funding that we've got at the moment. It's not easy. When CEO and I will put through our corporate plans and our national health plan, and we'll have to ask the government to get this funding going for dialysis. But without the support of Kidney Foundations, all our corporate sponsors out there on the fundraising to get this going at the cost of 150, it's very, very minimal, but how far we can stretch that envelope, it's a big challenge.
Emphasizing on the importance of this new development, Se Isi Kevau said the challenge to have good health is to control what you eat.
And the challenge is also for all of us to share with our young generation that in this lifestyle, this is what we eat. What we buy from those shops, what we eat, there's a lot of processed food stuff and we don't know what's inside there. And the reaction and what goes on in our system is what we see, particularly in the ones that we already mentioned. Coronary artery disease, stroke, and diabetes, and all of this.
Sharing the same sentiment with Se Isi Kevau on good health, the Deputy Secretary of Public Health, Ken Y, expounds on the prevention is better than cure theme.
Is better than cure. Because when it comes to cure, you need a big hospital like this. You need specialist medical officers. You need specialist equipment. You need specialist cure. And you need a lot of money. And you become sick. When you are sick, the family is sick, the individual is sick. We can't contribute to the well-being and the development of the nation.
Highlighting that PNG has a lifespan of 65.4 years, while other nations have up to 70+ years, Mr. Ken Wise said Papua New Guineans must go back to eating organic food. Mr. Wise said lifetime diseases that lead to kidney failure can easily be prevented by controlling what you eat.
Diabetes, stroke, all the different diseases that can easily be prevented. As they say, you are what you eat and you are what you do. That's why we need to do a lot more in prevention. But what we are eating, how we are behaving, how we are becoming lazy, how we are not eating the right food, it's making us become sick. That's why in Papua New Guinea we need to do a lot more. Let's go to the vegetables. Let's go to our cocoa and our banana and our peanuts and our fish. Let's go to pork and few other things that are good meat instead of going to lamb flaps.
The Deputy Secretary revealed that public health's main focus will be on prevention, starting with immunization. He stressed that programs like the kidney dialysis is expensive and people must watch what they eat to avoid lifetime diseases that leads to kidney failure.
We now now take a quick breather, but when we return, we will take a closer look at what transpired this week regarding the much anticipated vote of no confidence. You're watching a closer look. Members of the opposition have expressed dissatisfaction towards what they labelled as the hijacking of the parliament process when the vote of no confidence was ignored, as due process were not followed, with Parliament being adjourned to May 28 of this year. In this episode of A Closer Look, we outline the breach and violation of the VONC process and bring to you some of the insight from the last man standing, Sir Julius Chan, and the views from the public regarding the vote of no confidence.
After 17 days of Parliament sitting, the leader of government business, Rainbow Paita, moved that the Parliament be adjourned to 28th of May 2024. This has triggered a point of order from the Sinisini Yongomuk MP, Kerengakua, questioning the acting Speaker of Parliament, Connie Iguan, on the reasons as to why the vote of no confidence will not be placed on the notice paper.
We have on the 20th filed with the Speaker a motion for a vote of no confidence against the Prime Minister only. The Speaker received it, signed it and acknowledged it, and according to the standing orders of the Parliament, it's supposed to be the priority business today. We deal with, according to the standing orders, all private business matters are dealt with on Thursdays, which is today. So we were supposed to have dealt with the fate of that notice decisively today. Clearly, the private business committee met yesterday, as the Speaker has alluded to. They made a decision yesterday, but the Speaker refused to disclose the reason.
The acting Speaker of Parliament responded and stated that the private business committee will provide the reasons in due course. This response from the Speaker then caused a rowdy reaction from the opposition side of the House.
Committee have decided. So I've already made a decision on that. I will not entertain any more point of order. Leader of government business.
Mr. Speaker, may like move us a mini agenda Parliament go Mr. Speaker.
Order.
The members of the opposition in a news conference expressed dissatisfaction towards the manner in which the Parliament handled its business on the 22nd of February, stating that the Parliament has been hijacked as the government deliberately buried the vote of no confidence that was supposed to be a priority business. Speaking on opposition behalf was Kerengakua.
The way I see it, what they've done is they've looked at us not to go to court and blockade it for the next 3 months and not giving the reasons. They haven't processed it fully, so we can't run off to court when the matter has not been fully processed here at the parliamentary level. There's something that is happening within their ranks which we don't know, but they are so afraid to see this particular motion brought to the floor and see the light of day and be actioned by the leaders. So for me, it's a very sad, dark day for this country.
Kua further labelled this as an act of constitutional sabotage when this VONC is deferred for another 3 months. Mr. Kua explained that this can be battled in court, but they were not properly informed by the Speaker, who refused to give information.
We, as the opposition, we can take the matter to court, but before we go to court, we need to know exactly what is the status of our motion. We need to know what they've decided, whether they've accepted or rejected. And if they've rejected, then on what basis? These are the things they have to tell us, because when we go to court, we're able to tell the court that this is what they have done, they've dealt with it, and this is the reason they've given for not accepting it. And then the court will be able to decide whether that is correct or not correct.
Sharing the same sentiment, the Vainimo Green MP, Belden Nama, stated that what has transpired is the hijacking of the parliament process and the constitution of the country. He calls on the Prime Minister to not interfere with the process of parliament.
What we have witnessed today is the hijacking of the parliamentary procedures and the constitution of our country. We brought the number to the floor of parliament, the people of Papua New Guinea, with a motion. That's our number. Prime Minister should not interfere with the process of parliament.
Responding to this, Prime Minister James Marape revealed that he is not privy as to why the motion was not entertained.
Those who are crying foul should look back. By now the acting speaker, as chair of this committee, would have given them the reasons why. I am not yet privy to the reasons why the motion was not entertained, but as I did mention earlier, Constitution outlays how the motion is to be lodged and the requirements.
Marape then highlighted that there are due processes to follow and calls for the opposition to follow the due process. Marape further added that Gordon Wesley, the Samarai Muria MP, confirmed he had not signed the second motion as indicated, highlighting that there is a possibility of act of forgery in the motion.
Certain signatories of motions, especially the second motion, I will not be surprised if the third motion also it confirms that certain signatories did not sign onto the motion. Evidence of cut and paste, evidence of photocopying that has emerged in a serious Section 145 motion. And this is not a funny matter for them to procure signatures of leaders without their consent. One leader, in fact, the Honorable Gordon Wesley has given a letter to the Private Members Committee that for the second motion, he did not sign.
However, opposition leader Douglas Tomoriesa explains on this.
Gordon Wesley, Governor of Mlimbe's, because on the 14th, Governor Gordon Wesley's signature was on the paper. And if they're using that as a technical reason, not to allow the motion to come to the floor, we have already corrected that. We withdrew the motion of the 14th, and the Speaker has accepted the motion of the 20th. So that is just a clarification.
Adding on, the last man standing, Sir Julius Chan, elaborated on the importance of upholding the Constitution.
For all the technical thing for you to argue, I got nothing to argue but to uphold the Constitution. And believe me, it has lasted for 48 years. And the people, you must respect your own decision that you have allowed the Parliament, the People's House, to last for 48 years without really any disturbance.
I decided that constructive dialogue must be open between all parties involved.
Sir Julius recalled when he took over the seat from the late founding father, highlighting that due process were followed and decisions were respected, and the late founding father took it calmly.
The committee that decide on the motion, etc., no, the Speaker just look at it and it's right. We don't find mistakes. The mistakes is in the government. And the people are asking for a change. And this is the People's House. What do we do?
He further added that the amendment made to the Constitution is not an easy task and urged the government to have a critical view before making any amendments.
This is your future. This House is your future. In the last 6 months, I've realized that I've never experienced so much amendment to the Constitution and Mama law. You cannot just go and play around with it. You cannot shake the mangoes to just fall down. That's the pillar of the nation.
In the meantime, Prime Minister Marape highlighted that the opposition will have the opportunity to again present the motion when Parliament sits on May 28th and gave assurance that they will not run away from vote of no confidence and the processes.
That's all we have for you on this episode of A Closer Look. Join us same time next week for another episode. On behalf of the entire team, thank you for watching and have a pleasant evening.